Welcome back to Kevin's Trooper channel. This is the channel where we do all types of DIY projects for overlanding and off-roading. I'm in the garage today doing a little bit of prep to begin the rear bumper build on the Trooper. So I'm starting to get some bracing ready in order to hook the bumper onto the frame and get some of these bigger pieces of metal prepared, and then we're going to get some sheet metal and cut out the pieces. What I wanted to do today is talk to you guys about grinders. If you do any kind of welding at all, grinders are one of those things that's just a necessity. And the better the grinder, the faster your job, the less work and the less hand fatigue you're going to have. Now, using the grinder so much lately, I've actually been getting a little bit of a tennis elbow-like condition in my arm. What that's from is using the grinder with one hand while I hold the piece of metal, so I'm trying not to do that. But today, I wanted to review the METABO 4.5-inch grinder. I just got this in. This METABO has a soft start feature, which allows the motor to last longer. Instead of going from 0 to, 11,000 RPMs in a second, the motor slowly builds itself up to speed. Not slow enough that it's annoying or that you have to wait on it, but slow enough that it's much better on the motor and the internal components. This thing is built to last, and that's one of the ways that we do that. And if you listen to the motor ramp up, you'll be able to hear that soft start feature. Hope you guys can hear that. It also has an electric clutch. What that means is if the blade or your grinding wheel ever catches, there's a clutch in there that's not going to cause the grinder to kick back near as bad. It's a lot safer, and again, it's built to last, and it's a lot better on the motor. It has a variable speed, so it goes down from 1, which I'll let you hear that. That's slow. That's on a 1. And then we'll start to go up. That's 6. The RPMs on this is from 3,500 up to 11,000. It's a 13.2 amp motor on here. And I really like this rat tail design. One of the reasons that I purchased this grinder is, as I mentioned, I kept getting a tennis elbow pain. And normally after 2 or 3 minutes of running the grinder, I would start to feel it hurting my elbow. I haven't felt anything yet. It's very, very comfortable to run. There's very low vibration. And that rat tail design makes all the difference. Because when you're holding your hand open like this, you're putting more stress on those tendons than you are having your hand in a more natural position. The neat thing about this is it's a lot more comfortable in order for you to run this long periods of time than to have your hand in this kind of a position. You have a nice, comfortable grip. It's a little harder to run this one-handed, but you really shouldn't be running it one-handed anyway, like I just mentioned. I also would strongly recommend getting a grinder with a trigger switch. It's called a paddle switch. I do not like the grinders that have the thumb switch on the side. The reason being, if something happens when I'm running this and I let off the trigger, it's going to stop. And it's going to stop very quickly. As opposed to, if I have this thumb switch and I drop it, the grinder is still running while it's on the ground bouncing around. Not a very safe thing to have happen. Also, it has a special side handle that's designed for anti-vibration. I know you guys can't feel this, but there's very little vibration in this grinder. And I put a fresh flap disc on here, and let's do some grinding and see how that works. Yeah, that is quite a grinder. Now, most of these METABOs are made in Germany. This one, unfortunately, was made in China. But that doesn't mean that it's still not quality. It still is METABO quality, but yeah, this one is one of the ones made in China. They used to all be made at their facility in Germany. This is one of the less expensive METABOs though. This one was about $200. They go all the way up, I mean, to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But definitely a great tool. Probably gonna last me for years and years of service. And I've always been one of those buy once, cry once mentality guys whenever it comes to buying tools. I try to buy the nicest tool that I can and take good care of it and really make sure that it lasts me forever. It always surprises me how much metal dust gets on everything so quickly. And if you could pile up metal dust on your table that quickly, imagine what you're breathing in. That's why I always say wear respirators whenever you're doing this kind of work, because you do not want those metal particles in your lungs, and especially if you have any painted material or anything like that, you for sure don't want that inside your body. Now, whenever it comes to buying your flat discs and your cutoff wheels, one way that you can save a lot of money is to buy those in bulk. Instead of running up to the hardware store, you know, the orange one that I hate going in that place. I try to avoid it like the plague. But instead of running in there and buying one or two flat discs for $5, $6, $7 a piece, I was able to get 10 for like $11 or $12. So they were $1 a piece. So you can order these in bulk. And I really like this Neiko brand, but you can order these things in bulk and save a lot of money. If you work on metal, you're gonna be using grinding wheels anyway, so you might as well buy several of them, save some money, and always have reserves there. Now, if you're trying to remove paint, I would highly recommend some of these type flat discs. Here's some footage of me removing mill scale with these purple flat discs that are designed for paint removal, and you can see that they're very effective at removing mill scale without tearing up the surface of the steel underneath. I don't remember exactly what these are called, but I will look them up and link them in the description. I made a mistake whenever I bought these, and they have the small hole in the center instead of the larger hole like these, but I was still able to get this to go on the grinder and cinch it down. It's just a little bit wobbly, it vibrates just a little, but that's okay. I don't think it's gonna come off or anything, and you don't put a lot of pressure on this like you would a cutoff wheel. I would never do that with a cutoff wheel, but this just barely rubs against the surface of the metal to remove mill scale. And if you're doing any welding, it's very important that you get down to clean, shiny metal. Your welds will be way better if you take the time to do that. And if you guys need a grinder, but you can't spend $200 on a METABO, this Porter cable is less than $40. I've had this for 15 years, and I've put this thing through hell, and it's still running. This will do the exact same thing this will. And you can see it also is a rat tail design with a paddle switch and not a thumb switch. I really like this Porter cable, less than $40. I'll put all of these things down in the description if you guys want to look at it. I'll put these flat discs and these paint removing wheels down there if you want to look at those as well. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our great community that we have here on this channel. And give me a thumbs